Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Joyride podcast. Today I'm feeling kind of off, if I'm being completely honest. I'm feeling like I'm kind of in a funk. And I just think that this episode needs to be me unloading, me working through what I'm experiencing right now. But there's some happy things that I want to share about as well. So let's get into it. Happy Friday. I think Fridays are, I don't know why, but they just feel like good energy for me to share on the mic. So it's a Friday and I'm happy to be here, and I'm happy to honestly really be having this episode. I can feel myself tearing up. There are things that I need to work through and process. And I know that me being able to share what I need to share on this mic is, of course, going to help me process what I'm going through, but also it is going to help you in some sort as well, process through whatever you need to be working through as well. So the first thing that I want to mention is I hit 6 months in my coaching business on Tuesday, July 11th. And it was a regular schmegular day for me where, well, first of all, okay, I'm not going to get into this yet. Let's just talk about the day. I was trying to approach the day like any other day, and, I have my to-do list of the prioritized things that I want to be getting done, and I was just having one of those days where it was really, really tough for me to finally get into my day. And I was having this moment in the afternoon where I was sitting on my couch and I was trying to write my weekly newsletter, and shit was just not flowing for me. And I was like, okay, put away the laptop. What do I need in this present moment right now? And a lot of times for me, what I've found as an emotional is, and being a responding being an emotional manifesting generator, sometimes I don't know what I need until I just give myself the space to feel whatever needs to come through. I have a lot of my emotional breakthroughs in meditation, in the sitting, in the space, where a lot of times I don't feel these emotions coming through until I'm just allowing myself to sit in that damn space. And this was one of those moments where I just put away my laptop, and all of the emotions, all the incredibly happy emotions just started to pour through me. And I was sitting on my couch, bawling happy tears for, I want to say, a solid 5 minutes. And I sat there and thought to myself, holy shit, Rebecca, you did this. You have now come to this point where it's 6 months in your business. And I want to give some context as to me creating this business. As you listened to on the first episode, I have always known that I would have some type of coaching program where I would help people come back home to themselves. I would help people connect to themselves deeper. I always knew that was my why throughout every job I've ever had is I want people to fall in love with themselves. I want people to know themselves. I just want to help people. But it's taken me a long time to sift through what helping people actually meant to me. So when I started studying human design last summer, and me starting to come up with the ideas and the inspiration and the creativity around, okay, I have all this knowledge, now how am I going to make it into a program that's accessible for people? I never once, and this is just the way that my energy works, I've never, throughout every passion that I've exercised, every business, I've written details, but there's never been this huge, specifically curated, thought out business plan, and this is how the marketing is going to go, and this and that. I just know that what I'm passionate about, I have to see it through. it's like I feel so restless and like there's something that's just trying to get out of me. So I have to go through with what I feel really fucking passionate towards. There's just no way that I can't. And this business was one of those things. And at the time, this was back in November after I had gone through the whole program of Jenna Zoe's My Human Design courses and programs of learning how to become a reader. And I had done a handful of readings on other people. I had gotten laid off from my job. I was an executive assistant for a couple in Austin at the time. And I had just gotten into a big car accident. I got hit by a fucking semi-truck. And at the time, I was like, okay, it was message after message from the universe. It's time to pour in everything you've got into this business. And I just remember sitting there thinking to myself, I don't know how I'm going to get people to sign up with me. I've never been super called to the TikTok area, which I know, and that's what I'm going to get into on this episode is there's a lot of resistance for me because I operate purely in flow. I don't force myself to do things. I don't force myself to especially do things for my business that I don't necessarily feel called to do, that just feels off to me. And that's literally what I teach people. You don't have to do anything that you aren't comfortable with, that you don't feel that you're aligned with. But on the other side of that, I felt so incredibly emotional about putting this art form. Let's call it an art form because it's so much more than just a business. I felt so passionate and so strongly about putting this art form out into the world. I kid you not, every time I would go to write my about me, it was the freaking waterworks. And, it just all goes back to me being emotional and just allowing my emotions to come through in whatever space and time they need to come through. And they would come through very strongly because I had this message. I knew that what I was envisioning in my head was going to make an impact on people. And I didn't know how that would get across to people. I had no idea how I would market it because I just didn't have those skills, I guess, and I still don't. And that is something that I'm still working through today. I don't always know the right ways to get people in. And that has been my biggest struggle in this business. I have very confidently now stepped into this role of I'm a coach and I know what the fuck I'm doing. And if you feel the resonance between you and I when you come across my Instagram or you meet me in person or you meet me for a session and you just feel like the energy is there and you want to come back, you will leave with something. I promise you that. You will leave my energy, my aura, my space in a different way. Like you will just walk out differently. So that I'm very, very confident about. I'm confident in the fact that I'm an expert and I value to give and I am worthy. But something that I have been struggling with is not always knowing the right marketing tactics and tools to get people in. It's like, I just complain to people in my life sometimes where like, I just need an intern. I just need someone to get my message out to people because it's just not something that I think I'm very good at and that I want to be putting my effort towards. So anyways, I'm going on a tangent here, but let me circle back to the afternoon that I was having. I really had to just, I'm struggling to find the words here, to be honest. I just had to give into what my emotions were trying to tell me in that present moment. And it was, holy shit, you did this. And what I reflected back on after having that afternoon and having that morning to myself where I woke up and I felt like it's my birthday because it's my business's half birthday. And I was just feeling so proud and so excited and so prideful in myself was that the reward that I sometimes think that I'm intrinsically seeking, and I know that a lot of you listening, it's kind of like I'm getting this image right now of a cat, or not a cat and a mouse, a mouse in the cheese, right? This mouse is like running after the cheese. But the reward that you're seeking is never going to come after you've accomplished that thing. That's how it's felt in my experience. Every time I've hit this big accolade, my Soho House partnership, my being invited on these podcasts, making this amount of money with working with certain clients, that's never been the it thing for me. I have found that for me, the reward is in the journey. And yes, afterwards, I get to experience these moments in time, like I did on Tuesday when I'm sitting on my couch, crying to myself, crying happy tears of, you did this, you have hit this point. But for me, the true revelations, the true joy of this whole joyride, of this journey of life, of being on your soul path and creating and putting yourself out there and making a fucking mark, making your mark in this world. It has never been when I hit that thing. And most times, like even when I put out this podcast, I really didn't feel much. What I have felt throughout this whole journey is on a day like this where I feel so connected to myself, I feel so connected to my voice, I feel so connected to my truth. It's never when I actually go to post the episode. Most times I'm like, okay, I already felt the thing. So that's what I'm trying to get at here is what I have noticed that for me and my journey is the reward is in the journey. It's in those off days. It's in the days where for some reason you just feel so connected to the work. And it's never in the day or the moment where the work, the creation comes to life. Oddly enough, you would think that you would get this massive, overwhelming feeling, but at least for me, it's in those small, tiny, simplistic moments of life. And I think that's an overall message of, everyone says it's the moments of joy and laughter that you experience with your family and your friends. It's that morning cup of coffee when the sun is hitting you. It's in the moments of silence. Like that's what life is about. In these simplest of moments, that is when you get to experience a true reward. So that's the first thing that I wanted to shed some light about. Just relishing in, to me, what is an extremely gratifying accomplishment. 6 months in my world is a really big fucking deal. I'm a manifesting generator. I move on quick. Some things I'm like, wow, Rebecca, you put all your eggs in one basket on this one thing for 2 months and now you're already over it. It's kind of a shame. So to have hit 6 months in my business where I now truly feel like I'm just scratching the surface. And I am so excited. I'm so excited to see what happens in these next 6 months because I'm just starting to feel like my feet are getting wet. I'm just now starting to feel into, okay, this is really how I want my business to look like and to work. This is who I want to work with. This is who I want to collaborate with. This is what I want to create. And yeah, it's just a cool feeling to now finally feel like I'm living in my design. And I have plenty of days, plenty of weeks, plenty of moments where I feel disconnected from that, but that's all a part of the journey. So that is the first thing that I wanted to mention on this episode. The second thing is what I'm struggling with in my life right now. My biggest struggle right now in life is the discipline and the focus and keeping momentum. I was getting ready for a Soho House event last night, which was incredible. And I was listening to an Abraham Hicks, I don't even know if you would call it a meditation. They're kind of just, I don't know, I guess broken up parts of her live speaking events that she shares on Instagram. And I'm blanking on, I will include in the show notes the book that's written by Abraham and Esther Hicks, but basically it's this couple And the woman is a channel for a spirit. I don't know what you would call it, but she gets these very clear channeled messages from, I think the spirit's name is Abraham, from Abraham. And she is the channel where that message is divinely sent down through her, and she is just the conduit to get that message out. So anyways, I just randomly looked up one of her teachings on YouTube while I was getting ready because honestly I was bored. And something that I've been noticing about myself a lot lately that I'm really working towards pivoting against is I'm finding that in these moments where I eat a lot of meals by myself, I live by myself, I do a lot of things by myself. I have been finding lately that I have been needing to fill this void of not having like a human connection with someone through watching TV, through scrolling on Instagram, through listening to music or something. And I have to remind myself where, like, Rebecca, it's okay to just sit here and be by yourself with your thoughts. And I've never been one to shy away from listening to myself, but recently I've found that it's kind of been my go-to to seek out something to fill that void in a sense. So that's something that I'm actively working on. But I decided to listen to this YouTube video, and I believe that everything in life comes across your path when you need it the most, whether that's a song, a book, a person, what they say. It's just all in divine timing. And this specific video was talking about momentum, and it was talking about how we create this resistance and how we actively are creating these blocks that are stopping the flow of energy from receiving that abundance, from receiving whatever our current manifestations are. And to me, I made the very strong correlation of I have been struggling to keep this momentum up for myself. And let me give you some examples. I know that I'm really hard on myself, especially being the 6'2" profile, which is the tagline is the exemplary human. I know that naturally, also being a Virgo, I hold myself to an incredibly high standard because I can see the potential for myself very, very clearly. I can see it. I know, I can feel in my body what I'm capable of. So when I'm not doing that, oof, I'm mean. I'm mean and I'm nasty to myself because it's like, Rebecca, you know what you could be doing. So this has been something that's been really hard on me, honestly, my entire life, but especially since I've gone down the rabbit hole of immersing myself on this entrepreneur journey and I've made this very strong correlation to momentum recently and keeping up this sense of discipline and focus and having this all tie into my strongest lack in my chart. And you will find this as well. I think a lot of people have this same energetic lack, let's call it. If you are a single definition, so look at your human design chart. And if you have the My Human Design app, or if you just go look up your chart online, you can see what type of definition you are. But if all of your defined centers are connected, you have what's called a single definition. And for a lot of single definitions, our ego is undefined, and that is our strongest lack. I can feel this within myself, that my strongest energetic lack, how many times am I going to say energetic lack, is the fact that I just can't always rely on my willpower and my discipline and my motivation. And that at times, you guys, fucking kills me. I'm not kidding. Like, I will feel that I have all this momentum going and I'm pushing and I'm creating, but then I self-sabotage. And I do it more often than I honestly would like to admit. Last night, I got home. I had this event around 6 o'clock. Everything in my life, I think that it's not going to take me as much time as it actually does. I thought, okay, this event is going to go to maybe 7:30, 8 o'clock. I'm going to get home, have a late dinner, whatever, but I'll be fine. I end up staying at Soho House until I think I got home maybe a little after 11. It was a very interesting night. Let me just share a little bit about it. This event was incredible. It was a panel of athletes. Amir Abdullah, who is, I didn't know who this man was before last night, but I think he's been in the NFL for 9 years. And then there were some other incredible speakers on the panel. But afterwards, we went upstairs to Soho House and we had dinner, me and a few of my friends. I met Kevin Durant. I shook his hand. That was cool. This man, he literally looks like he's like 9 feet tall. I have no idea why he was at Soho House, but got to meet him. We were just hanging, having a good time. So I get home from this event after eating dinner at like 11 o'clock. And I have found that I'm now making this realization that I am very sensitive to my environments, and I'm very sensitive to who is in that environment. You will find that you are very sensitive as well if you have a few things in your chart. If you've got an open G center, look at that in your chart. If you've got that open, you're probably very sensitive to what environments you put yourself in. You're also very sensitive if you're a natural empath, so you have your solar plexus, which is the emotional center open, which I don't, but I can tell that I'm very sensitive to the environments that I put myself in. And that being one thing, being sensitive to environments, but also when I'm finding that I'm losing this momentum, that is when I know that I'm putting up a block for myself. So consciously, I've actually said out loud to myself, like, what do you need to do in this present moment to break out of this feeling of I'm putting up this block here, I'm stopping this momentum? And there are times where I literally like shake out my hands from the energy, and I know that at most times what I need is to just ground myself in my body in that moment, because a lot of times my physical body is stopping me from keeping the momentum going. So like last night, I get home a little after 11 and I am sitting there scrolling on Instagram until like, oh my gosh, I think it was 12:45, 1 o'clock. I'm sitting there and I know that this is not good for me. I know that this is not what I needed. What I needed was, I just felt like, okay, I need to be back in my hermit bubble. I was just around a lot of people and I was, sensitive to the environment that I was in. Even though it was such a great night, I just felt like I needed to come back to my body. So what I should have done was just ground myself, take myself through a minute or two of a meditation or breath work, just something to kind of just like clear what I needed to clear out. And a lot of times I don't even know what needs to be cleared through my body. I just know that I need to come back to myself. But what I did instead was scroll on Instagram for almost an hour and a half. I look up and I'm like, Rebecca, it's almost 1 o'clock. What the fuck are you doing? And this is something that, like I mentioned before, happens more often than I would like. It's like, I know that I'm putting up this block. I know that I'm the one that's creating this resistance for myself. So what happens is, I go to bed a little past 1. I don't do my legs up on the wall because that's something that I do every night. But I'm sitting here and I'm like, oh my God, I'm so disgustingly exhausted and tired. I just need to go to sleep. And then I set my alarm for 6:30 and I snooze my alarm and I don't even get out of bed until almost 8 o'clock. But I'm like, it's fine because I work for myself, whatever. But then I start to spiral. And then I'm like, on one end, Rebecca, stop being so hard on yourself. You're being a perfectionist. It's okay to slip up. It's okay to have these nights where you go to bed later. But then on the other hand, I've done this to myself a lot, and I really feel like in this episode I'm exposing myself, but this is the point of me having this podcast, is a lot of these things that I share about, I know that you can probably relate to, but a lot of it is just for me. I need to process and work through. I don't need anyone else's input. I know that this is up to me, and I was having this conversation with myself this morning when I put myself through some breath work and a meditation, and I just said out loud what I needed to release. And what I said to myself was, Rebecca, your business is a microcosm of you. It's not about anything in your external world changing or shifting, which I very clearly know. It's about me. I need to change. I need to be the one that is not putting up these blocks, is not creating this resistance for myself. And going back to this YouTube video, which I definitely took a turn and started talking about my own stuff. But anyways, she was talking about how we are the ones putting up these blocks and creating this resistance. So I made the correlation with I have momentum and I can keep it flowing. It's until I'm the one who stops this flow of receiving, this flow of allowing by stopping this momentum. So I don't want to continue to stop the momentum. I've done this to myself time and time again where, it's scrolling on my phone or I'm just putting my time and energy into all these little things and not putting my energy into what I actually want to funnel it into. And yes, it's okay to mess up. Yes, it's okay to go to bed later some nights and to sleep in. Yes, it's okay to not be perfect. But I know that for me, after putting myself through this hamster wheel so many times, I know what's good for me. And I know that coming home at the end of an event when what I really need to do is just come back to my body and cleanse my energy and go to bed so I can wake up early and do my thing and get into my day and create that momentum, I'm blocking it from sitting there and stalling and procrastinating and getting on my phone. It's like I've done this to myself so many times before. So I really had to sit with myself and be honest with myself. It's something that I am very rooted in, and I share this with my clients and I share this on social media. What are you afraid of? What are you afraid of in being honest with yourself? I have found that it's so much easier for me to work through whatever battles I'm fighting if I'm just being honest with myself. Sometimes it's being honest with yourself as to what do you really, really desire? What do you really, really want in your life? What are you really, really willing to put the energy towards? And what are you really, honestly wanting to work towards? But in this case, this morning, I was like, bitch, let's be fucking honest with yourself. You are the one that is stopping this momentum. That is why you are not receiving what you want to be receiving. So we're not going to wait until tomorrow. We're not going to wait until next month. We're not going to wait until Monday to change this. We're going to change this right here, right now. And my intention that I had going into this event last night, we did this breath work at the beginning of the event. And my intention was allow it to be now. And I had this visual of just butterflies flying off. Allow it to be now. So in order for me to allow myself to receive this money, to receive this abundance, to receive this love, to receive these partnerships, these collaborations, these opportunities, it is up to me to keep that momentum flowing, to keep myself focused, to keep myself coming back to my own physical body, to not create this separation from my mind and my body and letting the focus disperse in a sense, if that makes sense. It is up to me. Nothing externally is going to change that. Also, it's in my action. It's not in me sitting here every morning and saying these affirmations to myself and writing it down in my journal. It's me putting the action forward, actually showing up in a different light. So that is what honestly I've been struggling with lately, is not blocking myself from keeping this momentum flowing. But as of today, after I was really brutally honest with myself, after saying, you've done this, Rebecca, time and time again, and you know that this is not what's needed in order for you to keep that momentum flowing, I really felt a shift happen in me. And I'm sure that I'm going to slip up some days. I'm sure of it because I'm human and I'm not perfect. And that's just a part of the process. But I know that from this moment moving forward, and really me hitting 6 months in my business shook things up for me in a sense, where I was a little relaxed these past 6 months. And as much as I believe in stepping into your feminine energy and allowing and receiving, I also knew that I can be doing more because I can feel it. I can feel that I haven't been putting forward all of the energy that I know that I want to be putting forward. So honestly, I feel so much better now walking through this process with myself. And I just want to also just be blunt, be raw, be fucking honest, and let you know that I slip up. I slip up a lot, and I am my own worst critic. And I'm really glad that it's me, and what everyone else has to say, I kind of just, well, that's their opinion. They can think what they want to think. But I'm glad that it's me. I'm glad that I'm the one that's constantly having these hard conversations with myself, because in order to create this beautiful, bountiful, expansive, abundant life that I know is so possible for me, it's up to me. It's up to me in my intention. It's up to me in my actions. And it's up to me to change. That's what it's about. So I'm going to leave y'all with that. I feel like that was some shit. There were some other things that I wanted to talk about. So let's get into that. Something that has been on my mind lately is I've been thinking a lot about the 5 love languages. If you've never taken the quiz or the test, go take it. I think it's such an awesome test. And I've learned a lot about myself in terms of how do I, one, give love and how do I receive love? I've always known about myself that my number 1 love language is words of affirmation. But I know that that has changed over time as I've stepped into myself more, as I've become more connected to myself, as my purpose and my why has become stronger. I haven't really needed those words of affirmation from other people, because I know that the only person's words of affirmation that I'm truly seeking are my own, which is a beautiful feeling to experience. But with all that being said, something that I have really struggled with lately is receiving words of acknowledgement. To me, it's all about the acknowledgement from the people that I love and care about in my life. When it comes to my friends, this is really vulnerable of me to share, but I just feel like I need to share about it. A lot of my really close friends in my life do not meet me at the energetic level that I'm at. It's just plain and simple. I love them. I love them so much, but they just don't meet me. They don't meet me at an energetic level, but also with that being said, what their life path is looking like is completely different than my life path. And I get that, and I support that, and I love them for wherever they are at in their path, but their focus in life is completely different than mine. So with that being said, my focus the past few years, and especially in my life right now, is really revolving around me stepping into my path, my purpose, and that all has to do with business and career, and really everything else is not in my, clear peripheral vision. I don't know if I'm using the word in the right context, but it's not in my scope right now, what my energy is actively wanting to be put towards. So with all that being said, I have found that I am feeling discouraged and disheartened when I, let's say, launch my podcast, or I hit this accolade in my business and I want to share this with people that I love and care about. But I know that one, they just don't understand it, and they just don't get it. And I know that it took me a long time for me to realize that that was okay, that these people in my life can still love and support me even if they don't understand what I'm doing. And a lot of people in my life don't understand the shit that I'm doing. And that's okay. There are people that do. There are people that understand it. There are people that don't understand it, but just can meet me, someone like Casey. And then there are people who just, I know and I can feel that they don't understand it. Maybe one day they'll experience something like this. Maybe they won't. That's not up to me. But I'm finding that I think also being single and not having a partner, think about it. When you have a partner, and hopefully, a beautiful partner that prioritizes you, they're the first person that you want to share all of these achievements, accolades, successes with. And beyond that, it's just the everyday nuances and the everyday things that happen in your life. And that is something that I just am not experiencing in my life right now. So I am looking to the people that I love and that I care about in my life to give me that reciprocity, to give me that reciprocation of acknowledgement. And what I'm finding is I'm not receiving that in the way that, one, I would give to them if they were, to experience all these things in their life. But having said all this, and I've been feeling a lot of tension and just a lot of hurt, honestly, towards people in my life that I care about, it all comes back to, well, what am I giving them? And I've been talking myself through this kind of like ego-led conversation, because coming from my heart, I know that at the end of the day, people are loving me and supporting me with the energy that they have to give. And it's nothing personal. It's nothing like, they're purposely not reaching out to me and saying congratulations and this is amazing and this and that. They're just meeting me at their level of energy, and I totally get that. So that's what my heart is telling me. Now my ego is telling me, well, why aren't they reaching out to you? Because this is something that, you would reach out to them and congratulate them and say, this is so amazing, blah, blah, blah. But then after really walking myself through why I'm thinking this way, it's, well, you know what, Rebecca? There are things that are going on in their life that they are super excited about and super proud about, probably on the same level that you are in regards to everything that's happening in your business. These are friends of mine that are like getting married and, new relationships and new moves and just different things in life. There are things that, I'm going to be honest, I don't give a fuck about. I don't give a fuck about in my life right now. So how can I meet them at their level? I can't. Does that make sense? Like, this is all going back to me, why I'm feeling bitter, why I'm feeling hurt for them not giving me these words of acknowledgement or words of love, is because at the end of the day, I know that I'm not giving that to them for what they have going on in their life. And at the end of the day, everyone only has so much energy to give, and that's on me. That's on me and my ego to really work through. Rebecca, and I know this about myself, you're not everyone's top priority. It's not up to them for every single thing that you do for them to reach out to you and say, good job, congratulations. That's up to me to give myself a pat on the back. And yes, I make it very clear to certain people that are very close to me in my life, like my parents and my closest friends, I would really enjoy having you acknowledge me for what I'm doing. Again, you don't have to understand it, because a lot of times you probably don't, but I'm just asking for you to acknowledge me and what I'm doing, because at the end of the day, it's just me here. I don't have a partner. It's just me. So that's something that I've really kind of been wrestling with lately. And in knowing that people have things going on in their life, people that I'm close with, that I talk to, I would think often enough, people have things going on in their life that, one, I haven't been reaching out and giving that energy exchange in the way that I want to be receiving. So that's up to me. But also, people just have things going on in their life that are not being spoken about to you. So I have to fall back on that too. Whereas, Rebecca, it's not all about you. People are busy, people are working, people have things going on in their life that don't involve you, or maybe they do involve you, but you aren't meeting them at that energetic level. So there are so many things, and it's really just come back to me. And it's come back to everyone is just being a really big reflection to me and what I need to see in myself. And, you know, having these feelings of hurt and I don't understand why they aren't supporting me in ways that I would support them. It's like, but they are. Everyone in my life is experiencing these incredibly amazing changes in their life, whether that's in their career and their relationships and their friendships and their family. And just because it's not the same type of huge, amazing change as mine, doesn't mean that we can't all love and support one another, even if we don't understand it. Because for me, a lot of my friends that are getting married, settling down, having kids, I can't understand that on any level because it's not what I want. It's not what I want on a soul level right now. And there are times when I'm around them where I think, it would just be so great to have a husband and to experience this. But then 2 days go by and I'm like, okay, back to building my business and back to this. And that's okay. That's something that I've accepted where, you know, I know that one day I'm going to want all of those things, but right now I just can't connect to them. I can't connect to them on this emotionally excitement level because it's just not something that I desire and that I value in my life right now. But I can still love them, I can still support them, and I can still give them the energy that I would want to receive on my end. So that's something, again, that I think through talking on the mic about this has really helped me process almost like my grief in a sense of I'm grieving what maybe I'm not receiving from people, but it's also shining a very bright light on myself. How can I step forward? How can I show them love, even if we're not on the same playing field? Because at the end of the day, if these people are important to me in my life, which they are, I'm not going to be at the same energetic level as everyone. We're all living our own life path. We're all on our own soul journey. There are people who are very similar to me and are experiencing a lot of resonance in their journey with me right now. There are people in my life who are experiencing totally different things from me. But it's up to me to give off that sense of love, to give off that sense of I will love and support you in any way that I can, even if I don't understand you and you don't understand me. And I used to think that in life, everyone needs to see me, hear me, understand me all the same, but that's a part of life. We get to experience different types of relationships with everyone in our life. And that's such a gift. It's such a blessing. And it's not something that I want to feel negative towards. Well, this one shows me support and this one doesn't. You know what? At the end of the day, everyone's on their own path. Everyone only has so much love and energy to give. And it's up to me to give that love and energy to myself. And I'm not going to sit here with this victim mentality. What I'm going to do is be the example. I'm going to put forth the love and the energy and the acknowledgement that I want to receive. Alrighty. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling so peaceful and so zen after getting all of that off my chest. And it feels really good to just be raw and honest and open and vulnerable, because I know at the end of the day, this is coming from a loving space. This is some shit that I'm working through, and me talking about it out loud, like actually making this real and not just a bunch of conversations in my head, really helps me to feel it, be in it, process it, and move forward. So I hope that this episode brought you some clarity for whatever you are experiencing on your journey right now. I'm going to go get some water because my throat is super dry. But thank you for tuning in for yet another episode of the Joyride podcast. I'm just so grateful to have you here in my space, to be connecting with me. And I will see you in the next episode. Bye.